go back to your data and your analytics team. Are there some roles that are morphing or changing? So we had a bunch of ETL people. We had a bunch of analysts. We had a bunch of people doing data cleansing. Are there roles that are changing with the technology as it's evolving? In our health systems, it's interesting. So I'll just air my mistake. So I advertise and hire 3 data scientists. They get snatched up in the organization. I go back 6 months later and they're writing reports, and I'm like, and so that's, what do the roles look like, and are they changing, I guess?
Yeah, they are changing, and we're starting to move up the stack of commoditization, which is great. So in the old days, right, a simple thing like a storage engineer for a data warehousing, storage engineering was really complicated. You don't need that anymore, right? The public cloud has made the infrastructure, the storage, the server configuration, especially around analytics and data warehousing, essentially a commodity. So the old style data warehouse DBA, systems engineer, systems admin, storage engineer, those roles are starting to become commoditized and replaced by the public cloud. One of the things that I do see that isn't moving fast enough is too many resources in the analytics team spending their time on ETL. And that's a combination of a couple of things, right? Over time, the number of jobs, the number of data objects that you have to manage in a data warehouse and a data platform just increases. So that's just a necessity, not a necessity, but just sort of a reality. The other is, you can follow the 2 extremes of data modeling that continue to drag things down. Enterprise data models have their own ETL problems. Late binding has its own data problems for ETL. In between, there ought to be some structures that should be more commoditized, where you lock down information models and data models around things that are persistent and comprehensively agreed upon. And by the way, that's the mantra I use, is persistent and comprehensive agreement about data bindings and data logic ought to be locked down so that you're not continuously maintaining that. You can lock that down, and then you can move your analytics staff and your ETL staff onto other things. So a big part of what I see with analytics teams right now, they're still spending too much time on ETL because of this extreme of either late binding data modeling or enterprise data models. We need to start facilitating these intermediate data structures that offload some of that work. You want me to comment on the data analyst versus data scientist thing there, Bill?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
So what quite often happens, right, is because we're inundated with these compulsory measures, you look around the organization for anybody that can write a report to fulfill the need. You just have to resist that. There's a great book called Essentialism. Everybody ought to read Essentialism. And quite often, it's too easy to say yes to every report that comes along. And if you say yes as an analytics team to every report request that comes in, and there's no first order economic pain from the requester of that report, you're going to spin yourself right into the ground. So you have to have a data governance structure and a leader of the analytics function that knows when to say yes and when to say no. That's really important. And as mundane as it sounds, I see it all the time where analytics teams get consumed by individual requests funneling in, and their request queue never ends. And so they never get a chance to do cool and innovative things. So you got to be able to say no. You have to have the air cover from the governance community to support no occasionally. And then you have to carve out a team. And I think right now I would absolutely carve out a data science team that was focusing on what amounts to next generation analytics. You've got to have that core that addresses the internal and external KPIs that are required by compulsory measures right now. That's inescapable. Try to make it as efficient as you can with these intermediate data structures, but then carve out a dedicated team and don't let anyone touch that team without the significant oversight of the leader of the analytics function, and put those data scientists on innovative opportunities and ideas that we've never had a chance to address before.
Are you hiring those people? Or are you potentially outsourcing or just outstaffing that
Well, I'll tell you a great lesson that I've learned actually. I think I think the path from data analyst to data science is easier than it's ever been because the models, the algorithms and such are being commoditized by the open source community of data science and machine learning. So I went into this role about 3 years ago thinking that I was going to have to hire a $1 million a year data scientist to take advantage of this asset that we have. And I'd probably have had that same mindset as a CIO if I were still practicing. But what I found is that over the last 3 years, the rate of improvement for machine learning and data science is far outpacing Moore's law. If Moore's law is doubling in capacity every 18 months, we're doubling in machine learning capacity in like every 3 to 4 months, and I mean that quite literally. So you don't need the PhD data scientist like you used to. What you need are solid feature engineering skills, which data analysts are perfectly suited for. And then what you really need is knowledge around what amounts to experimental design in data science, so that you make sure that what you're producing from data science makes sense operationally and clinically. So the feature engineering and the data analysis skills of traditional data analysts, they've got a great career path going forward. The models, the algorithm things are easily accessible to the citizen data scientist today. I can be a data scientist today in ways that I never could in the past. And then if you add that experimental design to your skill set, knowing how to take advantage of and thoughtfully apply machine learning and AI, then you've got a really bright future. So I don't think organizations have to hire outside anymore for the data science skills. I think they ought to build the data analyst skills, or the data analysts from data analysts into data scientists.